this is kind of a nice one too, kind of like pine, a little bit like black cohosh, where, there's a movement signature. And if you look at this, there's an airiness to it. Look at how thin this is. And they're just having these big, heavy fruits on it. They're dangling, they're suspended. And the oat shape itself looks like brain hemispheres. So it's very airy looking. I'm going to kind of speed through this because we've got a lot to do. But yes, this does have the building materials in it. It's for nervous disability, lack of focus and concentration, and insomnia. So this is a really good nerve builder. And once again, we're revisiting Goticola. Different picture though, because this threadiness looks much more like the axon terminal here. And we talked about the mat-like nature. And this is good it does have a strong affinity for the nerves, nervous breakdown, anxiety. It's also good for tissue regeneration, like I said, with the eczema thing, but, rebuilding. It is a workhorse. Kind of reminds me of the limbic, kind of a ram shape. Okay. Well, there's the APACA also get in on this party. Some of the more yellow ones are going to be there. I think that's interesting. Yellow, the gut, that's like your second brain. But this is fennel, and it looks diffusive. It looks like things are spreading out. It has that nerve look to it. And the umbels also indicate the head. You've got this large structure sitting on a little thin thing, kind of like brain and column there. And it's airy looking. We'll talk about air in a bit. The taste is acrid, and acrid also means it's that barfy taste. Acrid is like the bilious vomit taste. And that's a taste that stimulates the vagus nerve. So I did bring in the vagus nerve here a little bit. And this is an herb for memory. It's in a lot of lore. It's also for convulsions or fits in small children. And then very similarly, we have dill here. And dill is one that we know about for like gripe and for cramping. But sometimes when you think of cramp, it's definitely like a constriction. And our nerves can feel that way too. So it's antispasmodic, which means it can also work on the spasms, maybe other places too. So the same look here, and there's maybe a little bit more detail and history that's you're able to dig up here. I just thought it was interesting that dilla, the Norse word for dill, we get it from dilla, and it means to lull. That's from Maud Grieve. This is for protection from magician spells and witchcraft, so psychic protection. That whole space, like that kind of thinking space. And we'll talk about the magician in a bit. And then Culpeper said this is Mercury ruled, and therefore the brain and the vagus. And we'll talk about that in a bit too. All right, so more nerves. This is a sedative. This is valerian. And it has that umbly look again, definitely head focused. And the leaves kind of look ragged looking. They look kind of like they've been through the ringer, kind of like someone who's been frazzled. This is an acrid. And we talked about how acrid, that barf taste wakes up the system. It's also hugely potent smelling. We talked about how smells can kind of bring us down, but this smell is so heavy. It's not like the stimulating fiery volatile oils. It's more like a cloak. It's like, hey, we're going to bring you real down real fast. So that's why this is an herb that's used to help people get to sleep. So insomnia, especially when people are not only insomniacs, but they have spinal pain, and for irritation. So once again, all that heat's irritating things. So it's not necessarily always a constriction issue. It could be a heat issue. Take in low doses, because the higher doses can be stimulating for some people. Valerian, some people just react really woo with it. Others brings them real down. Same, then we got passion flower. So this is another nerve signature. It looks a little strung out. It's beautiful, but I loved how it looked like the axions there. So this is Passiflora incarnata. We talked about that already. Very frazzled, looks very airy. This looks like some kind of like Tinker Toy nerve brain structure in the middle. And then let's talk about color. The blues and purples, we find a lot of people find them very calming. Certain blues might be a little jarring, but for the most part, the blue purples are relaxing, and they're associated with the third eye, which is in that pineal space too. So we've got a brain connection there as well. It is a sedative. And we talked about its properties earlier. And let's go back and look at American ginseng. This is the root. And here's what I felt it resembled. Oops, let's go back. Looks like a little man in this one with all these little nerves reaching out there. That rhizome root area looks like a person with peripheral nerves. And yes, it's for nervous exhaustion from overwork and neurasthenia. Oh, and those that are exhausted by travel. So if you've been like in different time zones or across the world, come back, you're just beat, bring it on back. And I will say Mercury does rule a little bit of travel. Not usually the long distance, but a little bit. So that brings me to this next point. Deer medicine, we're going to start to tiptoe more into that esoteric piece. Okay. We talked a little bit about this too in the brain, head and eyes class. When we talked about umbels, but it's really important to mention. And I'm going to say, please check out the animal medicines course online and check out that bird medicine class. But this is specifically deer. And this is like the Native American doctrine of signatures. So if a plant looked like an animal or was used by an animal, there would be an immediate, like an association with it, with that personality or animalsonality of that. There would be shared physiological and emotional traits. So deer, you think about them, they have antlers, large twitching ears. They're very head focused. And so there's going to be a lot of crown activity themes with this, including, balance, which is definitely part of that system, awareness and sensitivity. So already we're talking nerves in here. There's also an association with the kidneys that if you explore the class, you'll find out. And kidneys can be associated with fear, and fear nerves being jumpy and nervous. That's just a really quick skip through it. I just want to make sure that we don't get too far behind here. Deer are associated with movement. Actually, they can be associated with non-movement, like that freeze. We've all seen the deer in the headlights, but they can also be quick to react as well. It's like they're just like, it's their, this is part of the autonomic nervous system. It could be the somatic with the motor system, or it could be the flight or freeze part of it. I glitched out there for a second. They're also very aware. A lot of times they're scanning. And as a prey animal, you need to be doing that. It's very easy to observe with a big animal like a deer. And so we're talking, once again, observation. We're all up in the head. And then they like to be in transitional spaces. You'll often find them browsing where like the forest meets the cornfield. That is like their magic spot. And so they're literally on the edge. So that means that they've got a good escape plan. They've got something at their back, but they are really, really on that edge. And edges are associated not with just being edgy, but change. Like there is a literal transition happening, and change is something that our nervous system has to incorporate. This can also be combined with like the fight, flight, and freeze. Okay, got them all out. So when we find deer medicine plants, they might look antlered. They might be growing in those transitional spaces, or they might have symbolism that suggests change or moving. And if you want to know more about change, wolf medicine and liver gallbladder medicine have it. And that's more, it's more dealt with in the animal medicines class. And so what are some examples? Monarda, blue vervain, teasel, and sumac are some really good nervous ones that might also address some other nerve parts like the adrenals and the kidneys in there. Okay, so moving on, a nerve plant right here. This is evening primrose. This isn't a deer medicine necessarily. It could be very spine-like, lots of strong stuff. Like this is an all winter long one. Personally, this is such a weird thing. I think the flowers or the oil, the evening primrose oil, smell like bones. It's like, how do you know what bones smell like? I'm like, I don't know. It just smells like calcium and minerals to me. But it does. It smells like bones. It's also acrid. So we definitely have a spine connection here. We definitely have an acrid taste, which is related to the vagus nerve. Matthew says it's for difficult respiration, which makes me think about the autonomic nervous, regulating that. It's for enteric fever. We know it's connected to the enteric nervous system. So I'm thinking, perhaps the vagus nerve. It's also for neuralgia, Alzheimer's, memory loss. Oils are very, very good brain food. So there's that piece there. So yes, the evening primrose, weedy but important. Here's some more deer medicines. Here's some deer medicines right here. This is blue vervain. And there's a cross shape to it.